Fate, Craftsman the rail, and Infosec the red cap. They're followed after 2 lengths by Puppy Manners. On his outside is Icy Ride, and Bays is back at the rear of the field. He's been staying out of trouble and minding his own business thus far on Tamarando. Now he peels him wide and has 5 lengths to make up. Enterprising in the yellow cap being roused to the lead by Stevens. Dance with Fate and Grider trying to match him as they kick away from the early leader. I'll wrap it up, and here comes Tamarando let loose on the outside. After 3/16's pole, Dance with Fate has the lead over Enterprising, a length away to Tamarando, and Infosec on the inside is fourth. It's Dance with Fate the leader, Tamarando grinding after him. Dance with Fate confronted by Tamarando. The Calbred Tamarando puts his head in front and wins the El Camino Real Derby over Dance with Fate, Enterprising.
That was the exciting finish to yesterday's Grade 3 $200,000 El Camino Real Derby. This is Don August with HorseRacingNation.com, and today on Barry Backstretch Talk, we talked to the principals of yesterday's big race that was won by Jerry Hollendorfer's Tamarando. Tamarando went off the second choice in the field at 2-1. The favorite was actually Enterprising. Gary Stevens came up to ride for Tom Proctor, and just behind those two was Dance with Fate and jockey Aaron Grider, who was riding for Peter Urton. Now we hear from the winning connections of Tamarando, trainer Jerry Hollendorfer, and jockey Russell Bays.
Thank you.
I'm with Jerry Hollendorfer. Jerry, congratulations on a big win for Tamarando in the El Camino Real Derby. Coming into the race, of course, the biggest thing about the race was there wasn't a lot of pace signed up on paper. Did that worry you at all going in?
Yeah, you always like to see a race that would set up in a normal way, and I don't think anybody knew what to expect on this one, and so it becomes more of a rider's race when that happens. So they have to follow their gut, and Russell thought he was in the right spot, and evidently he was.
I think in a race like that, it kind of favors your horse a little bit more because the other ones all had to kind of see what the other ones were going to do. You knew your horse was going to take back a little bit anyway, so you got to sit back and let the other ones joust around in the first part of the race. Were you happy with where he was sitting around the whole time?
Well, not exactly, because we were going to sit a little bit closer, and then I guess when Russell was feeling things out in the first turn, he decided to stay back there. And then I was watching on a monitor, and most of the time I couldn't see Tamarando, so I was starting to get a little worried and was wondering when he was going to kick it in.
What point in the race did you actually feel confident that he was going to win?
Well, when they hit the quarter pole and I saw Russell coming around, and he gave him a good hit there with the stick, and then he took off. I thought he would have a chance to win, and then when they were coming down the lane, it looked like he was closing off enough ground, but then I didn't know if he was quite going to get there.
The last couple of jumps, he exploded past the leader.
Yeah, that's right. So very, very grateful for that.
Gives you a lot of options to do with the horse now, huh?
I think so. A lot of races for 3-year-olds, and actually a lot of money to run for. So we're grateful to have a good one, and a couple other ones too that are good.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
I'm kind of surprised the fractions were that fast, because he was laying, way closer than normal for him in his most recent races anyway. And just doing it within himself, just doing it on his own. I wasn't asking him to be there. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, turned down the backside. He kind of wanted to pull me up inside the horses. I let him for a little bit, and then I was settling back, because I didn't want to have to wait for anybody to clear me in the turn. It didn't look like Jose's horse was really wanting to move. So I settled back behind him and got to the turn and stepped to the outside, and away he went. Got a nice long move too,
Some of the other top finishers got the trips that they wanted, and you were happy with your trip also.
Yeah, I was. I would have liked to have seen a little more pace in there, but going a mile and 8 the first time for most of these colts, you're just not going to get much pace, and there wasn't any real designated speed horse in there, so it turned out good. So Jerry put me on plenty of horse.
Not bad for a substitute, huh?
That's excellent substitute. There are going to be a lot of good things come from this colt. He's just got a lot of talent.
When you started to move up, did you know you had enough horse to go by them all?
I thought I did. I kind of had to ask him to start moving at the 3/8 pole, because I knew they had a lot of horse left too, because they weren't going that fast. And he got me right up there to them, and then had enough to push by that last horse before we got to the finish line.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
After the race, I talked with Southern California riders Aaron Grider and Gary Stevens about how they saw the race play out. Well, Aaron, the race kind of played out like people thought. They weren't sure who was going to go to the lead. You ended up in a perfect spot, turning for home. You looked in a real good spot. What did you think about the way the horse
I was
ran?
real happy. I just think that, he's a horse that wants to be a little bit anxious still. So the first half a mile, he was on the bridle a little more than I would have liked to. If I could have just got him to conserve a little bit more energy early on, I think I would have been maybe a little different story at the end. But, that's all part of maturing and horses growing and getting better as they go along. I think he settled better in this race than he had in some of his earlier ones, and he sure finished well for 1 mile and 1/8. He tried hard, so they've got a nice horse, and it was a great time coming up here.
Were you happy with the pace that they'd established?
Yeah, I knew it wouldn't be a very fast pace. I was actually hoping they'd go a little quicker so I could drop in behind him and get my horse to turn it off a little bit. Him being out in the clear kept him a little bit more aggressive. I think if they would have cleared and I could have dropped in, I'd have been a lot better shape.
So you were probably watching to your inside. Did you know where Tamaranda was coming at all?
I knew he was coming. I heard a horse on the outside, and when you handicap races, you got to assume it was him. He comes from way back. These two horses have been good rivalries. They've beat each other a couple times now, and when I heard a horse on the outside, I figured it was him, and my horse had to run to the wire, and he did.
Good performance, though.
Yeah, he ran great. Thank you. Guys, have a good night.
Yeah, we got a great trip. I'm not so sure he handles this track all that well. We started a long ways out. Aaron had a lot of horse and put pressure on me from the half-mile pull, and we just steadily picked it up. Just before we hit the quarter pole, I was sensing that Aaron had the best of me already, and I was wondering where Tamaranda was. I knew he was going to come running, and I saw his shadow come, and it turned into a good horse race with them. But he just, I don't know, he didn't pick up for me like I thought he was going to. I don't think distance is the problem for him, but anyhow, good clean trip and no excuses.
With the lack of speed in the race, were you guys...
There was no lack of speed. The horse, everybody was talking about the lack of speed. The speed was the horse that was on the lead, and actually Aaron's horse, he was showing 22 speed last year. He got wiped out in the Breeders' Cup. He broke slow in his last race. When he breaks, he's got speed. I actually thought I'd be laying third behind the 7 and the 8 horse, and it turned out I was sitting a nice chilly second, and it came up pretty much like we had planned out on paper, but the result wasn't what we thought it was going to be.
Thank you.